My name's Dan Izzo. I'm the training leader at Bizdom U. I'll talk about a little bit what Bizdom U is. I used to own a comedy club in Ann Arbor called Improv Inferno. It was an improv comedy club. Oh, thank you. Good to see somebody went there. Maybe if you'd gone a few more times, I'd still be open. I currently run a blog called Bizzo.biz. That's why you'll see me in the catalog or in the boarding pass as Dan Bizzo. It's in fact Dan Izzo, although I like Bizzo a little bit better. Let me tell you a little bit about Bizdom U, and then I'm going to dig in deep here on my talk. Bizdom U is a nonprofit business incubator, a business launch academy that was started by Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert's the owner of Quicken Loans and the hated Cleveland Cavaliers. What we do at Bizdom is we have a 4-month intensive training program where you go from 9 to 5, 5 days a week. We help you develop your business concept. At the end of that 4-month period, we provide you with funding anywhere from $25,000 to $100,000 to launch your business. We take 67% of the equity for that investment, but when you pay us back that investment, the equity position flips. You end up with 67%, we end up with 33%. We provide that service at no charge. As a matter of fact, we currently provide a $1,500 a month stipend for the program, for people to be in the program. The only condition is that you've got to put your business in the city of Detroit. I'm originally from Chicago, and in Chicago, you've just got Chicago. I didn't realize until I moved to Detroit that there was like 2 Detroits, right? There's Detroit and then like Detroit, right? Detroit is where you have to put your business. Birmingham is not Detroit. Birmingham's Birmingham, right? I'm not here to perpetuate the big suburban-urban divide, but we do require that you put your business in the city of Detroit. I've worked with over 40 entrepreneurs since starting with Bizdom U. Out of that 40, we've launched 5 individuals into 3 businesses. We've got a few more in the hopper. And what I really wanted to share with you today is kind of the process for turning, what we do over there is turning dreamers into doers. I respect the hell out of people who have dreams, but they tend not to get a lot done before noon. And we need people who get stuff done before noon, right? Those are the people who create wealth for other people. Those are the people who create opportunities for other people. You heard the gentleman earlier talking about we're training people to be employees as opposed to employers. Doers are employers, right? And so I want to direct this conversation to you. Maybe you're working with a teammate who has a business idea. Maybe some of you are educators who work with students who have business ideas. Maybe you have a friend who has a business idea. Maybe that friend is secretly you. Right? What you need to understand about the process of becoming an entrepreneur and stop dreaming about things and start doing things is that ultimately it's a process of transformation. And like any process of transformation, it's scary, right? It's why not everybody does it, right? If it was easy, everyone would do it. It's not easy, and therefore not everyone does it, right? It's scary because on one hand you go into it thinking, I'm going to give this another try because then I can wander. I can't. I'm stuck. You go into it thinking you're going to go from this guy, which is Steve Jobs circa 1977, to this guy, which is Steve Jobs circa 2007. But there's also a likelihood that you're going to go from being this guy to being this guy. That's Guy Ritchie, so there's a double pun in here. Thank you. Richard Sheridan. Yeah. Enjoy the veal. Thanks. Look at that. All right, so let's talk about turning dreamers into doers, right? And trying to overcome that anxiety and kind of push people to succeed and exceed, right? The way you do that is help turn people's ideas into businesses, right? And one of the things they encouraged us TED speakers to do is to ignite controversy. So I'm going to completely disagree with something that Derek said. And Derek talked about, doing what you love, right? And I think it's more important to love what you do. right? And the way that you get into that, right? If your business idea is the answer, then my question for you is, what was the question, right? What was the question to which your business was the answer, right? That's what you need to start drilling down on, right? Because everyone, we've all been encouraged, do what you love, do what you love, do what you love. Well, the transitive property of mathematics will tell us that, in fact, loving what you do is exactly the same as doing what you love, right? But we think that we've got to love it and then do it, right? I mean, we think we got to like, oh, I'm going to find what I love and then I'm going to do that, as opposed to saying, well, here's what I'm doing and I'm going to find the love in that, right? And the way this shows up is what I call the field of dreams effect, right? Where people build the businesses that they want to build and they hope people will come, right? It didn't work out for Kevin Costner, right? That was the last good movie that son of a bitch made, right? So why do you think it's going to work out for you, right? Trust me, I opened a comedy club because I really loved comedy. I loved performing, right? It turned out that what I really needed to be in love with was attracting audiences and fixing broken toilets, right? And I actually fell in love with attracting audiences and fixing broken toilets. I remember with pride, the first weekend we were open, someone managed to break one of our industrial grade toilet seats, and I was able to disassemble it and fix it. Which sounds way more complicated than it is, but I was a psychology major, so anytime I can turn a nut, I feel engineering. Rather than build your business and hope people will come to it, right? Go back and ask yourself again, what was the question to which your business was the answer? Your idea obviously came from something, right? You had some sort of problem in mind, right? Something provoked you and you came up with the solution, right? Go back and analyze what that problem was, and now get out and talk to other people and see if they have that same problem, see if they have that same concern. And look, when I say problems with regard to business, I don't literally mean a problem the way that an open wound is a problem. Right? Yeah, that's a problem. You need a Band-Aid, right? Maybe even stitches, right? It can be a problem if it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you're really high and you need a taco, right? That's a problem, right? Taco Bell realized, that's a problem. We need to solve that problem. Let's keep that drive-thru open a little bit later, right? And let's make sure we make that drive-thru nice and wide, right? That way when the guy ahead of you falls asleep, you can drive around him, right? Better than talking to people, right, is you want to get out and listen to people, right? You don't want to go out and say, here's my great grand idea, what do you think of it, right? Because you'll immediately put people into this mode of judging your idea, and you're not looking to have people judge your idea. You're really trying to engage in this process of pushing your idea to the side and understanding what the problem is and connect with that problem, all right? You've got to research the problem before you research the solution, all right? We get very enamored of our solution, right? Because that's where we feel like we're geniuses, is in that solution, right? But we can have the best solution in the world, and if we haven't identified a problem, it doesn't matter how great the solution is, right? The thing we forget, and I loved when Elizabeth Gilbert was talking about this, and I'm acting like she was actually here talking. I thought that was very odd that we all applauded at the end, as if she could hear. We could just as easily have booed, and she would have had the exact same reaction. But we've kind of put forward the individual, right? I'm a big fan of his work, but on some level I think John Wayne has ruined America. And that's because we have this cowboy mentality, we have this like solo mentality, we have this like I'm the cock of the walk mentality, right? And it's really not about you when you're starting a business, right? Becoming an entrepreneur is this transformative process, it's a transcendent process, and it's really about helping people. Even something like R.J. Reynolds tobacco helps people. Does it help people in a way that's going to keep them free of lung cancer? Probably not, right? Does it help people in a way that they get to take a few extra breaks at work every day? Absolutely, right? So if you're looking to get out of the office, take up smoking. But every business fundamentally is about helping people, about connecting with people, and as a result, you can't make it this ego-driven thing about yourself. right? And about celebrating your own genius and your own creativity. Like Elizabeth was saying in her speech, that genius and that creativity is not really yours, right? It doesn't really belong with you. The reason that I knew I could start a comedy club of my own was I looked at other people who started comedy clubs and I said, well, they're no more smarter than I am, right? And that's not even good English, right? Wood existed before the screw existed, right? And too much we build our businesses as if we invented screws and then we're out there looking for something to put it in, right? That sounded a lot more obscene than I meant it to be. Everyone's like processing like, oh my, yeah, right? That's now 15 tweets just went out, right? Just make sure you link back to my site. I could use the traffic. Wood exists before screws exist. Before the screw came wood, right? People needed to put wood together. What's the solution to that? Screws are a solution to that. Glue is a solution to that. Clamps are a solution to that. But if all you're trying to do is get out there and really prove the need for screws, you're going to really miss the opportunity. Because as anybody who's worked with any kind of wood knows that screws are not always the best solution, right? This nice, basketball-esque parquet floor that I'm on up here, right, was not put in with screws. It was put in with some sort of adhesive, some sort of glue, right? But if I'm out there trying to sell this solution and it's my screw solution, I'm gonna have problems with it, right? And the real issue is that context is king, right? We take customers, we take people as we find them, and we've got to work with them in that space in which they are in. Right? As I said before, change is very scary. So you have to watch how much change are you asking people to engage in when they come across to your process. Right? That's why it's going to be a long time before the self-driving electric car catches on. Right? There's a lot of change there. Right? The first time someone gets into a car and they don't see a steering wheel, they're going to freak out. Right? And deservedly so. Right? Anyone who's worked with Windows Vista knows you don't want a machine in charge of a lot of vital stuff, right? And so you've really got to look at the context in which you find people and work with them within that context and understand that context, right? Will we be able to sell the electric car someday? Absolutely, right? But the first ones that are out now are going to look very much like the car we have. Right? And then we can move people from that into some sort of self-steering car, like they've got now with cars that back into spaces on their own. Slowly but surely we can make those leaps and bounds, but when you're trying to change a lot of stuff on people all at one time, they're going to reject that change. Right? And so you've got to watch for that. You've got to really deal with people in the context in which they're in. Right? If you do that, if you approach business development from that, and again, this is for those of you who have teammates, right? People who are on your team who you want to be more entrepreneurial. It works if you've got students who you want to be more entrepreneurial. It works if you or your friends want to be more entrepreneurial. If you can put yourself in that notion of understanding the context, understanding the problem, then developing solutions, what you end up with, because you've managed to put your ego aside and focus on the people who you claim that you're helping, right? You end up with a better, targeted, client-driven idea. Something that sells itself, although really it won't sell itself, right? You're gonna have to get out there and you're gonna have to sell it, right? But you're gonna have a much easier sell because you're not gonna be trying to convince people to change a lot of things. You're really gonna say, look, I know you've got this problem. My thing fixes that problem. And I've gone deep enough with you, I've asked you enough questions, oh client of mine, oh would-be client of mine, that I understand the value that you place on being able to affect that change. All right? And so as a result, I've got a better idea, a more targeted idea, a more client-driven idea. And now you've actually stopped just dreaming about the day that you're going to open your business and have actually gotten out and started doing it. And started talking to people and started understanding what's going on with people. I think one of the things that Elizabeth said that I'd like to comment on, and then I'm almost out of slides. I'm not trying to come down on creative people. I think creative people are super awesome. All right? Super awesome with an exclamation point. But true creativity lies in doing, not in thinking, right? The world was not built by dreamers, right? Michelangelo was not a dreamer. Michelangelo was a doer, right? If all he had done was dream of the Sistine Chapel, we would not have the Sistine Chapel to experience, right? If all Thomas Edison had done was dream of other people's inventions, we wouldn't have those other inventions to experience. That was kind of a cheap joke on Thomas Edison. That's fair enough. What I would encourage all of you to do then is to really stop dreaming, right, and start doing. That's really my radical idea for you, is to not be a dreamer, is to be a doer, right? And it's just a matter of making the choice to stop dreaming and start doing. Again, I'm Dan Izzo. You can find me at bizzo.biz. Thank you very much.